Nollan is with us now. Coach, first and foremost, welcome in. I know it's only been a couple of months. How have you approached the process so far?
You know, we just started building culture, building relationships, investing in the current student athletes, and then obviously recruiting real hard to fill out the roster for the fall season.
So let's start then with recruiting. What has been your recruiting philosophy? It worked at Grand Canyon. What will your recruiting philosophy be with Northwestern?
You know, Northwestern is such a unique institution. I think you have to have a unique approach. You know, we're a top 10 academic school in the entire country, competing in the Big Ten, the best volleyball conference in the country. So we're looking for excellence on both ends of the spectrum. And I think we're able to showcase that and go out and chase those individuals who are looking for that.
Obviously, I know there are a lot of differences, but a lot of coaches will also tell you winning volleyball is winning volleyball, no matter which conference you're playing in, no matter who's on the opposite side of the net. So what do you feel like worked at Grand Canyon that can be applied to your time with Northwestern?
Well, I think it's the investing in the student athletes. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, volleyball is volleyball, absolutely. The Big Ten is just bigger and faster and stronger. I understand it. I understand the level, you know, coaching in Power 5 conferences before. And again, we're just going to invest in the student athletes we have, and we're going to give them a world-class experience in a world-class city.
New program, new roster, new look for the conference with 18 schools. It's a lot. How do you kind of avoid being overwhelmed and take this job day by day?
You know, you can easily get lost in the weeds if you try to, but I think having a really great staff keeping me on point and, you know, incredible student athletes that show up every day willing to work and ready to get after it has helped a lot.
You do have a unique perspective on the incoming schools. You mentioned your time as a D1 assistant at USC as well. What does USC and the other 3 schools and their addition mean to this league that I know you've watched from afar as one of the best in the country, if not the best, before these schools joined on August the 2nd?
Yeah, you know, I think the addition of the 4 new schools is just going to give a little bit of fresh air to the conference. They approach volleyball a little bit differently. They have some unique styles, just how they play the game. But I think it's going to open up recruiting grounds, allowing you know, the Big Ten current members to chase after some of the talent that's maybe a little more on the West Coast.
Let's dive into that a little bit. Compare and contrast the styles. Where are the differences to be seen?
I just think they're a little bit more outside the box thinkers. You know, Matt up at Oregon does a really nice job, really offensive based. USC, UCLA play a little different style of the game. Serve and pass based. I just think that they approach it differently, so you're going to have to prep differently for them every night.
Your non-con isn't exactly a breeze before we even worry about getting into the league schedule. You have that UNLV tournament, which has UNLV and Pacific. I know you have Notre Dame in the non-con. You have Long Beach as well. How quickly do you think you'll be able to assess what's possible from this particular roster? You
know, you're hoping to assess it after that opening weekend. I mean, the goal for us is never going to change. Our goal is the NCAA tournament, hands down. That's going to be the goal every year, and it's going to get steeper from there. But I think this year we've got to establish some of our systems and really see what some of our personnel and how they mesh together as we bring in a lot of new faces. So you're hoping to use, you know, the non-conference to do that before you get into the rigors of Big Ten play.
We were joking a little bit before we started the interview about the Big Ten schedule, that you look at it as a whole and you say, wow, as a coach, this is really cool. And then you look at it again and you think to yourself, what on earth have I gotten myself into?
100%. You know, amazing conference. You look at it top to bottom, full of talent, full of elite coaches, full of great minds, full of incredible student athletes. And you're like, okay, let's start circling the, you know, we should have this. And you're like, wow, there's not a gimme on this entire schedule. And that, I think it's exciting. But then again, as you say, it's like, wow, what have we done? But it's why you're in it. You know, I coach volleyball because I love it. I love the game. I love pouring into student athletes. And I think coaching at the highest level, the Big Ten, is where you want to be.
Your schedule also includes some amazing home matches at Welsh Ryan. Early, you have Wisconsin, you have Purdue, you also have Nebraska. Late in the year, USC comes to Evanston. How excited are you to present this volleyball team and the opposition that it will face to the home fans in Evanston?
Incredibly excited. You know, we have a great student fan base. The community really comes out to support as well. And, you know, Welsh Ryan, I think, is one of the best venues in the league, and I can't wait to showcase it, you know, to all the schools coming in.
I know your players are fired up for that. We'll hear from some of those players in just a bit. Let's touch on those players. Alexa Rousseau is here for a second consecutive year. She was a star at our media days last year. I'm sure she'll do so in a minute or two, following up in 2024. What does she mean to your program?
You know, she's the rock, right? She's been there. She's been the leader on the court for years, and you know, her coming back for this final season is just giving us a little bit of stability and understanding and leadership and guidance, and you know, I expect her to dominate on the court as much as she's going to dominate this media day today. That's
a lot of pressure. Alexa standing by and listening to this as we watch her highlights. What do you like about her skill set?
You know, she's versatile. She's a dual threat. She can attack on two. She sets tempo really well. She's not a liability at the net blocking. She can kind of do the whole thing. She's got a great serve. So you look at her to help us score points, right? You can only score points in three ways: serving, blocking, and attacking, and she can do it all.
Kennedy Hill is here as well. We'll hear from her in a second. Solid middle blocker last season, kind of on the upward trajectory of her career. What do you expect in 2024?
I'm looking for her to have a breakout season. She had a great spring with us, worked on some things, her versatility, finding different ways to score, different sets for her to score on, you know, use her quick first step to her advantage, and she really had a breakout spring, so I'm looking for her to make some big waves.
And we're looking at some of her highlights as well. This is a team where you're going to have to rely on a lot of different players. How important will it be for you, night in and night out, with this schedule to get contributions from not just the known players right now, but those fringe players, all the contributors coming in to make one team as good as it can possibly be?
It's going to be really important. You know, to have success in the Big Ten, you're going to have to find ways to be creative and problem solving. You're going to have to use your roster. So people are going to have to step into roles and contribute in the spots they have opportunities to. And, you know, I think every night we're going to see someone else step up in a big moment to help propel us to success.
Style can be determined not just by a coach's philosophy, but obviously by rosters, and you inherit a roster. So what has your style been from a coaching perspective, and how will that apply to the roster that you currently have in 2024?
Stylistically, we want to serve really tough, and we want to play elite transition volleyball and present ourselves with good scoring opportunities. We worked on that a lot in the spring. They do have some great pieces that fit into that really well. And I think we're going to work a little bit more on defense in the sense that we know the Big Ten is going to have elite attackers coming at us. We have to find ways to keep the volleyball off the floor.
What do the next 24-plus days look like for you and this team between now and the season opener?
Fun. You know, it's going to be building relationships. It's going to be playing some volleyball. It's going to be learning about each other. But again, it's not just volleyball that's going to make a team successful. It's that bond they have and that unity with each other. So we have to help authentically grow that in this time period.
From a big picture perspective, we've seen the popularity of this sport reach levels that I think a lot of folks inside the sport never believed it would reach. What's it been like to be a part of that from the coaches' sidelines?
It's been incredible to watch. You know, women's volleyball is a really, really great sport. It does so many things well. You know, if you just look at all the celebrating, the positive moments that it has, to showcase that to the world and to watch, you know, the U.S. in general catch on to that and see how amazing the sport can be has been fantastic. And I'm only looking forward to get to new heights.
Yeah, we've seen it really manifest itself in the participation at youth levels. So to follow up on that, how much room is there in your estimation for this sport to continue to grow? I believe now it's become our third highest rated sport here on the Big Ten Network, behind only football and men's basketball.
I think it's still got a lot of room to grow, quite honestly. You know, there's always an uptick in ratings and viewership after the Olympics. Obviously, we're in the Olympics right now, so I look for an uptick this fall. But I still think it's catching on with youth groups. You know, I have 3 young kids, and watching them and all their friends and peer groups who are interested in playing, I just think there's so much more growth to have.
I'd be remiss not to ask a little bit about some of what's been going on in the NCAA and the big picture. Obviously, the transfer portal has affected everyone's program over the last couple of years. Now revenue sharing comes into the pool, and some are calling it pay for play. We don't know exactly what it will be, but as a coach who's worried about recruiting and trying to win every Friday and Saturday, how do you also balance those elements which are continuing to change, not just month by month, but really day by day?
Well, I think you have to have a really great team around you. from sports administrators to assistants, to help you stay in the know. Because as you say, we don't really know all the details on what's happening. So just having a really creative team that's going to be solution-oriented, not focusing on problems or what about this or what about this, but hey, here's some options, here's some choices we can make. Let's take advantage of it. And then again, I feel really fortunate to be at a university where the education is a really big deal. And I think that's going to be a great equalizer for us is, you know, we have a world-class degree to offer out that you can earn and have that for the rest of your life. And I think that's a really big piece for us.
All right, finally, Tim, let's finish here. When 2024 comes to a close for Northwestern Volleyball, what will make it a success in your estimation?
Going to the NCAA tournament. Again, that goal will not change. I think there's lots of small things we have to do on the way. But I think we also have to build a base and a foundation for this program's success in the future, and that's going to come down to team culture. It's going to come down to giving back and community relations, succeeding in the classroom. There's going to be lots of elements that go into it, but the end goal is we want to compete in the NCAA tournament and show the country how good Northwestern can be.
Tim Nollan getting set to start year one with the Wildcats. Coach, truly appreciate the time. Best of luck to you and the team.
Thank you.
Tim and I touched a little bit on the schedule, focused on the non-con and some of those home games. Now you get a visual look. It's Notre Dame, early September. How about Wisconsin and Purdue within a week, both at home, late September and early October? That Nebraska match also at home on the 3rd. I know a couple of the players really excited to go out to Eugene in the middle of November and play Oregon. We put a lot of pressure already on Alexa and Kennedy to perform at their best during their interview with Elena and Holly. Let's check in right now.
Thanks so much, Rick. Holly and I are so excited to welcome Alexa Rousseau and Kennedy Hill, Northwestern student athletes, today to join us for Big Ten Media Days. Alexa, you've been here before. This is your second Media Days, so you're a bit of a seasoned pro now. But Kennedy, it's your first Big Ten Media Days. What are you most looking forward to today?
Honestly, most looking forward to speaking to you two. This is obviously my first time here. It's the start of a new big adventure, and this is the kickoff, so I'm excited to be here.
Head coach Tim Nollan talked about using you in more ways to help score. How has that been in the gym this spring for you?
Honestly, I'm constantly working on new ways to score. It's easy for middle. We always have the highest ratings or stats on the team, so it's always a challenge to find new ways to score, such as rolling, tipping, whatever, cheap kills. So I want to increase my IQ with volleyball and work with Alexa to do that. So I'm excited.
And now you're going into your third season working with Alexa. Alexa, your 5th year at Northwestern, you have been a steady part of this team for 5 years now. Coach Nollan just called you the rock of the team. How can you explain kind of the legacy that you want to leave in your last season leaving this program?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. My legacy is definitely something that I'm working on closing on, and just helping these girls when I leave the program, knowing that they're at their best that they've been in their past years, and letting them know that I've been their biggest cheerleader and will continue to be, and always think about leaving a place better than you found it. So that's kind of my approach on this last season.
And in your final season, new systems in place in the spring. How has that been for you to adjust to?
It's been fantastic, honestly. I think Tim has been really good at understanding who we are authentically as a group in the program that he came into, but also making sure he was specific on what he would want out of us and making sure he seamlessly integrated his values into our program. So it's been a great mix so far and very competitive.
And with some of those values you just talked about, you have some new faces on the team, on the staff, but a couple transfers, a couple freshmen coming in. Can you explain to us a little bit about what Northwestern Volleyball is going to look like this year, culture-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think us group of girls really got to be a part of adding those new pieces to our team, and we worked really hard over the past few years to build a team that is just full of bright, positive energy and that unbreakable chemistry that every team hopes they have. So we were very particular in what we were looking for and found amazing girls to join and integrate kind of right in and be exactly who we need. So I think the team you're going to see is an authentic team, a competitive team, but also a team that's never going to back down. We love a challenge, and we're so grateful that every night we get to play one of the best teams in the country. So definitely going to use that to our advantage and rise to the occasion.
And your head coach has high expectations, NCAA tournament. He has those goals for you. Being in the Big Ten, almost every match, you might be an underdog. How do you guys approach those matches?
I feel like our team now has understood that, and we appreciate that role, actually. We love to take that on, and we know we've been counted out multiple times of proving people wrong, so that's the name of our game now. And I think every night we're going in just fearless and know that when we have each other's back and we believe in what we can accomplish, it's going to happen.
No game ever in the Big Ten is going to be easy, and you guys have learned that in your years so far. Kennedy, going into your third season now, how are you looking to kind of elevate your game, make yourself more of a presence on the court in this tough conference?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm trying to work on new routes, new ways to score, working with Alexa. Constant feedback loop is always important with the setter in the middle. So always working on that, and just knowing that we're going to be coming up against big blocks, and that's also a difficult thing about being a middle is that, you know, big blocks. So just working on all the new skills that I can and coming up in this next season.
In being part of the Big Ten, you need to focus on defense because you've got some of the strongest offensive players in the country. What kind of defensive systems have you put into place and are you excited about?
I'm really excited about blocking. We worked a lot on blocking over the spring, new ways to hold our hands over the net, and just focusing on pressing. That's the big emphasis. So coming into this next season, Jeff and Tim have done a great job of letting us know their defense system, and it's been clear, so I'm excited to use it coming into this next season.
We're excited to see it be put into play, but we're also excited to see you guys take on some new conference members as well this year. Like everyone knows, we got 4 new teams in the conference out on the West Coast. Having played in this conference already, what are you looking forward to playing against them, and what advice do you have for those new members joining the conference? Lex, you can go first.
Yeah, I think we had the privilege to play Oregon last year at their very best, so that was incredibly exciting, but also very new. So having a little bit of that experience has been great, but also we have people like Kennedy who come from the West Coast and kind of know that style of volleyball, and also a few coaches that we've had in the past, including Tim, who understand that style and also understand the strategy that goes behind it. So being someone who is a strategic player, I honestly really appreciate that and enjoy that. So I would definitely, if I had advice for those other teams, it's just tell them to stay true to who they are and stick to it, because once you join a new conference with a lot of dominant hitters, you never know what can happen, so your style may match up really well. So just be authentic and true to their system, and I think it'll work out great.
Heading into your final season, what venue are you most looking forward to playing in this season?
I would say Oregon. I'm really excited to go to Oregon. I think it's a great opportunity that we have to play there, and I think beyond a volleyball match, I think Oregon is just such a sports experience, so I'm really excited to play in such a historical place.
And Kennedy?
I'm most excited to play at Washington. We went my freshman year for preseason, and Seattle is just a beautiful place, and Washington is also a beautiful campus, and they're a great competitor, so I'm super excited to go back.
Well, Kennedy, Alexa, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to watch you guys this season. Good luck, and back to you, Rick.
Thank you so much.